Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going? All right, now where were we? It's probably around 2002, 2003-ish, and I explained I was living at Joey's. I slept on my mother's floor for a little while when I came back from Jamaica with my kid. I wound up getting an apartment in Queens, Astoria, Queens. That's when I was pretty much hanging out with those BS kids, Bomb Squad, Tech, Tees, Tabs, those dudes, I was living out there on Steinway and Broadway. Bump into those guys every so often. PK would come by, Ripe, a few other people like that. Hey, puppy, get out of here, dog. That's my puppy coming in. See who I'm talking to. Dog's fine. What the fuck's he talking to? Alright, so, right then, I hook up with this girl, Melissa. She's a girl from the Upper East Side neighborhood. Known her for quite some time. And I moved to Hunts Point area of the Bronx, the South Bronx, which 728 Coster Street. That's where I was living at that point. It's up there where Tats Crew is and stuff like that. Pretty rough neighborhood. I know a lot of people from around there. Just, I live Manhattan right over there. A lot of people know me. Now, anyway, besides all that shit, let's get to graffiti scene. The years are a little blurry. I don't know, like, after that shit down in Jamaica, some of my memory's a little skippy. I don't know, I think I've done some research on it, and sometimes when people suffer some real traumatizing shit, the brain tries to block out shit, and in doing so, you might skip out on a couple other things that might have been important in your life to remember. But such is life. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna fucking have amnesia or nothing, but yeah, it's just, I would have to say it's hard for me to pinpoint dates. Unless, of course, there's like a big birthday cake there or something like that, or a Christmas tree, then I'd be, oh yeah, around Christmas time or something. So bear with me on this. Don't quote me so much on the dates. I might be off by a couple months or maybe even a year. But it's about 2003, 2004. I'm living up in the Bronx, 728 Costa Street. And I'm writing graffiti. At this point, I've already hooked up with Lace 357, Lace ESP, Eastside Party, Extra Sick Partners. Lace has been my bombing partner. If you follow my podcast all the way from the back, he's one of the first dudes I used to really hit the trains with. I mean, I've been writing with him since like 82, 83 with graffiti, mainly on the 6 train. But a lot of lines, I mean, if it was a train that moved, he was with it. So, yeah, now, like I explained, I told him, I'm back, and, he heard stuff about what's been going on. My brother probably tells someone or something, people that care about me, we're like family. I said, yeah, I hit a rough patch there, man, but what's up with the graffiti, And he's like, graffiti, I ain't doing that shit, man. There ain't no trains running no more. That's when I said, well, let's take this shit underground, But we started doing a lot of tunnels. I'll put some pictures on and stuff to show you what I mean by that. And I'm really just trying to browse through this because the whole purpose of what I'm doing on this podcast is I want to start answering your questions and get into some artistic questions and possibly help you guys in different areas and help you get a better understanding of what was going on. Because like what I'm about to say right now is when the game was different, like graffiti, and I do call it a game. It's always been a game. It's like a game of handball, a game of soccer. It's something me, Robert Dyer, did on my spare time. As I've explained before, everyone else was pretty much graffiti writers. But us, we were criminals that wrote graffiti. It's different. You got me? So I was never tied to the rules of graffiti. Those rules, they pretty much ran hand in hand with the rules I've already been following, which is the rules of the street. So there's really no difference, but there is a couple of little areas that get gray. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, at this point you started getting these websites that started popping up. Mainly the bunch of them. I'm not just, I guess I am singly pointing out one, because it's the one that went a little harder than everyone else, and it's the one I remember. Streets Are Saying Things, Saster. Now, Saster was a graffiti writer. The dude that used to write graffiti. Didn't write a real lot of graffiti. He didn't write a little graffiti. He was kind of just in the mix, I guess would be the proper term to use, without getting into it too much. So now, this guy comes up with a website or something like that. All these people are on there talking all this shit about me. Now, like I said, before I went down to Jamaica, you really got to look at my other videos. I was living with D3, Sammy, in Staten Island before he jumped parole and disappeared on me. And, you know, parole officers were coming by and this and that. But anyway, in that time, D3 got released from prison. He was down there living with me. And computers had become a household name. So I gave him like $3,000 to $4,000 to run out and get a computer. I remember he went to that place because I was living in Staten Island. That place right over there near the court system, JC Music, and then they had JC Computers or something like that. Two initials, but one of them, the first initial was a J. Right over there near Pace University, the college, and 26 Federal Plazas over there, downtown Manhattan. So he went in there and he bought a computer and brought it home. This big gray computer. It was gray and purple. And it was called a Viacom, made by Sony. So now, that was the first dude with computers. Of course, when I moved down to Jamaica, I threw everything in storage. And I came back from Jamaica, took everything out of storage. So now I got the Sony Viacom thing hooked up. But I'm not even using the fucking thing. It's just sitting in the corner of my room with a desk there, you know. And then one day my friends are like, yo, Rob, man, people talking mad shit about you, man. Yo, this, that, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck that, man. So what? Who? You know? I said, yo, it's on this computer thing. So I'm looking. They go on this thing and they show me. I'm like, fuck. They go, RD's a faggot. Yo, RD sucks dick. Yo, RD got AIDS. RD's a crackhead. RD's this. RD's that. RD's a bum. RD sucks. I kicked RD's ass. This, that. Yo, RD this. RD. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, how long has this been going on? He's like, look, you can see the little dates here and this and that. And I'm like, I'm looking, I'm like, some of this shit's like 7, 8 months old. So I'm like, yo, for like, I don't know, I guess the minute they popped up that site, people didn't like me, started really going in on me. And so I looked at it and I say, how do you work this thing? You know, so I got my little account. I go on this thing. Oh, yo, fucking RD, yo, this, that, blah, blah. Yo, RD sucks, this, that. So, yeah, okay, I'll respond, your mother sucks dick. Something like that. There's one comment I remember, once again, because it kind of went on and on and on for a while. It was a pretty cool thread, I think they call it. And I said, your mother licks bat shit off cave walls. You know, and everyone's like, oh, you know. So that was pretty much the take on that whole thing. Like all these graffiti writers that don't like each other go on there, curse each other out. So it got boring fast. I stopped fucking with it. And I forget who I was living with. But anyway, I went back on there one day or something like that. And, you know, then the people started putting my name, Robert Dyer, this, that. And I'm like, give a fuck. That shit don't mean nothing. You know how many Robert Dyers there are? It's like Dutch last name. It's like New York especially is built by Dutch. You know, like Dyer Avenue in the Bronx. You know, so I didn't give a fuck about that. My name is so common, Robert Dyer. It's like John Smith, John Doe. You know, that didn't bother me anything. And I didn't do nothing about it. I can't do nothing about it. This kept going on and on and on. It got to the point where, you know, I started following up to it. I'd say it became a daily thing. If I'd get home with something, I'd look on there, see what's going on, curse a few people out, and go on. Now, before you know it, people start putting my address on. Or as D3 has explained in my past videos, people started putting on what they thought was my address. And I'm not going to lie, they got my address on there. In a few situations, they actually had my address. And they were putting it on. They would write it out like this. Robert Dyer, blah, 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 blah. RD357 is Robert Dyer. He lives, blah, 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 blah. You know? And I'm only saying blah, blah, blah. Like, I can tell you where I live because I don't live there no more. But I don't really remember where I was at this point. I believe this was Hunts Point. And it was on Melissa's, where I used to live at 728 Costa Street. It was when I really was writing a lot of graffiti at that point. Because Melissa was she worked from 8 to 4 in the morning, something like that. So she'd work the night shifts in SOBs, Sounds of Brazil. She was the head bartender. This is a bar slash club slash entertainment place where like they have concerts and shit. Although it's always like reggae, samba. I mean, they have rap music and stuff like that. Calypso, whatever else. And she'd work there. Now I'd work in the daytime. So when she's working at night, I'd watch her kids. In the daytime, she'd be watching the kids. This went on for about 8, 9 years. So yeah, I'm living up there, and now people start putting my address on it. Now I start saying to myself, because you cannot go back from that. And let me take you back a little bit to my life. You don't want to fuck around with shit like that. Like, you don't want to, like, I believe the person posting my address just like lost it all at that point. Like, from where I come from, it's, you don't do stuff like that. And it's like, I'm saying to myself, these people got absolutely nothing that they can do to slow me down in the graffiti world, that they have to resort to unsavory tactics, ratting, a level of ratting, we'll call it, because you have different ways of ratting on someone. You have just straight out being a rat. Go to the cops, a rat. You have many different levels of it. And then who's a rat, who's not a rat, and who's actually a citizen, and who's actually in that kind of situation. Different things vary. But a lot of these graffiti writers, especially around 2000 and something, they were not street kids. As a matter of fact, none of them were. No matter how much shit they talk, no matter, they were not out there like doing the shit we were doing back in the days. Like I say, stealing motorcycles, all types of crazy. Like our whole life, we were just robbing and stealing. And we wrote graffiti on our spare time. And even now, when I say we wrote graffiti, as I explained before, there's only a very few of us that actually wrote graffiti. You know, it's a bunch of us that hung out on a bench, John Jay Park, a whole fuckload of us, but it was really just a few people that actually wrote graffiti. You had Pace, which 357 later on went to Hot Crew. He had passed away, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago. But I just heard that Go For Hot Crew passed away. Rest in peace, respect, man. That dude put in a lot of fucking work, man. Go For did a lot of fucking films, man. He was up a lot, man. But anyway, yeah, Pace was one of those dudes. Now, before Pace hung out with Hot Crew, he hung out with us. And actually, before he hung out with us, he used to hang out with Cost, K-R-T. You guys are bugging on how often Cost comes into the picture, because you never hear him mention me, and I never really mention him until this moment. But yeah, Cost was actually hanging out with Pace before we were. And Doc, tearing up the subways. Actually, I knew Pace before that, but before graffiti. Like, Pace used to hang out with Pedro. Now, Pedro was Gary Sash's little brother. Alright, now Gary Sash is the one wrote Sash, 357. And, yeah, so you had Pace, you had me, you had a couple of dudes that you might have heard of, like Kid 1, 357. He was Mexican Filipino dude. You might have heard of him. D3, of course, you heard of him. D3 Sammy. Meth, really early, but Meth, that was like 82, 83. He was with me when I got my face cut open. They sliced him down the side of his face like this, just missed his eye with like a big Rambo knife. So his mother was like, oh shit, it's some wild shit, Sandra. But they took his ass and he disappeared. mother was kind of shit that was going on, like, in our area. And you can't tell on people. So when people started putting my information on the internet, I would never, ever respond back with other people's information. I couldn't do that. You people show me one fucking time I've ever did that a day in my life, or anyone I rock with done that. Because I'll tell you, there's another story. They were putting my address on. They didn't even have my work address at this point. And they were putting that shit on there every fucking day. Right? Now, Feck, TFV, Feck, he got wind of Coke 2's address, where Coke 2 lives. So he said, yo, Rob, yo, I got that motherfucker now, man. Yo, I'm going to post his address. I told Feck, yo, don't do that, man. Come on, man. He's like, what the fuck you mean, yo? They're putting your address all over the fucking internet, man. Like, yo, I was like, dude, if you're doing me a favor, don't do that. Because, yo, that's ratting, man. That makes us no better than them. And second off, what do you give a fuck about what they do to me? That's me. I got it. I'll handle it. There's nothing you can do about that. He's like, yo, but they're doing that shit to you, Rob. I'm like, yo, two rights. Obviously, don't make it wrong, man. You can't do, oh, well, just because he's doing it, I'm going to do it. I don't give a fuck. And even if they come and lock me up for that shit, I won't do it. I can't. It's not, no. You see, now that's where it comes down to pedigree and street and stuff like that. That's where I believe, in my heart and in my fucking soul, that I'm better than all them motherfuckers, because they had the result to shit like that. They honestly had to start to slow me down, or to think they'd slow me down. They had to start to try and go outside of the street and actually go and use tactics like that. They had the result to snitching, informing, because technically you're informing the world who is writing RD all over the place. So yes, that is informing, and you're telling on people. Let me tell you another story about my brother, Sean. We were hitting one of these fur stores over there, 57th Street. You have like Fred the Furrier, you have a bunch of them, but we had one gam. We knew the security guard. He was actually friends. Another perfect story. He was from out there in South Jamaica, Queens. The guard that was there. So he was down with the whole thing. But when we go in there, one of the dudes we were with. But let me tell you, there's been takes like that where we've gotten fur coats worth $20,000, $15,000, $120,000. Like, yo, this is like good scores. You know, this is money to hold you off for a couple of months type shit. You know what I'm saying? So we go into this one place. There's about 4 of us. We pretty much were doing what the low lives were doing. You just bum rush the joint. As a matter of fact, we got this shit from reading about the low lives in the fucking newspaper. That's how we got on this task. But we kicked it up a notch. We're like, yo, I ain't gonna run around stealing a $50 polo jacket. Let's grab a fucking $30,000 fur coat, motherfuckers. That was our thought. But yes, shout out to the low lives. Now, in doing this scam, we had about 3 or 4 of us going in there. Now, one of us wasn't really us. He was more like a dude from the west side that chilled with us and make money. And he obviously looked scared, nervous, was looking around and everything. So my brother called it off. He's like, nah, this shit ain't happening. Let's get out of here. So we bounce. We get around the corner. My brother beats the fucking living shit out this dude, man. And he's telling the dude that the dude's snitching. The guy's like, fuck me, I ain't saying. He's like, your fucking body language is snitching. You go in there, you looking all fucking nervous, you jump around with your head, you motherfucking know shit's gonna pop off, man. No, that's snitching. And it's true. I mean, it's not necessarily like this, like he did it. You know what I mean? Like, he did it over there, going like this. You know, like when you're in a lineup and see, like this dude's just, his nervousness is a form of body snitching. It's like body language snitching. So, this shit goes deep. Now, in the point of going on the internet and putting people's information on there that are committing criminal acts, like, yo, you guys can walk down all this fancy lane about art and graffiti and this and that. It's fucking vandalism. It's a fucking crime, and the cops come and they fucking lock you up. Okay? Don't get too comfortable. That's the bottom line when it comes to graft. You get comfortable, you get pinched. I believe that was my downfall. Anyway. Yeah, you can't go putting people's names and information on the internet. And now, here's another funny thought. You look back at me, All these stories I just got done telling. What do you think? I just sit on a fucking bench in the city? I don't know people. I've already explained like so many different like criminal organizations and shit that I was dealing with, selling motorcycles to doing this with this one, doing that with that one. Like, you know how many grease monkeys I know that know people that knows? Like, everyone knows at least one graffiti writer, or knows of someone that knows one graffiti writer. So, like, let's be real. And even when I was in Staten Island, Get High Five would come over my house. Kez 5 would be sleeping there sometimes on the futon. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm not, like, with no ears, no eyes, no nose. Like, I know where all these people live. You know what I'm saying? It's like I would never, ever, ever post it. If anything, I'd go fucking hide in the bushes until I see them coming home or hopping out of the car. And I'd jump out the bushes and bash their fucking head in. But as far as it goes with me putting that information on the internet, once you do something like that, man, like, yo, your street license is pulled, yo, you're done. Like, I don't see, but then again, that doesn't really matter to much of these guys because they were never in the street. You get me? Like, they were never out there. They didn't have to, like, the street is good because it provides money. You got me? And you can't blow that up. Like, if you're known as a snitch, like, you can't sell a motorcycle to someone or do anything. Like, you're barred, bro. You're shelved. We don't want to hear from you. Like, that's the bottom line. If that word snitch comes along with your name in any way, shape, or form, man, you're hanging out with one, you heard of one, or any you're fucked. You honestly have no more credibility. You cannot move around like you used to. It's the bottom fucking line, okay? So no, I would never, ever stoop to that level. And as I told this guy, Feck, I said, listen, man, you put that dude's information on the fucking internet, man, I don't want to know you. I refuse to fucking talk to you, bro. Oh, man, but yo, you pussy, B. Why you gonna be with like that? Yo, Coke 2 be putting your shit on all the fucking time. Coke 2 got you shook, this, that. I'm like, peace. That was it. I honestly, alright, maybe a year ago, he started getting in touch with me on Instagram, liking my pictures. I like his pictures. And, you know, we never even actually discussed this. As a matter of fact, someone will probably bring this to his attention. The bottom line is, you can't do that. Like, that, I told him, that makes it so we're no better than them. I was like, the more they do that, the more I feel in my heart and my fucking soul, I won, and they got nothing they could come at me with. They're throwing everything, including the kitchen fucking sink, at me. Now, here's another perfect example. I don't know much about it. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but, I mean, it comes from pretty reliable sources. Maybe 15, 20 years ago I heard about this shit, 15 years ago. I know some dudes from South Jamaica, Queens. Matter of fact, my brother did a bid way back with some of them real motherfuckers from South Jamaica, Queens. Like, after that cop got shot and shit like that. So, getting back to South Jamaica, Queens. You had this rapper named 50 Cent. Not the real 50 Cent. Of course, 50 Cent from Fort Greene, Brooklyn. But this guy's a rapper. Now, he writes a song about all this drug activity that people in his neighborhood are doing. And what happened? They nearly killed that fucking dude, man. Like, yo, straight up and down. I mean, I don't know, the amount of times he was shot changes depending on who you listen to or what you read, but it's like he was shot 20 times, he was shot 11 times, I don't fucking know, but they tried to fucking kill that dude, man. You could tell on the side of his face he got shot right in the fucking mouth or something, you know. I mean, he's a big burly dude. I actually could listen to his music a lot easier than I could other people's music, so I got nothing bad about the guy. Looks like he's doing his thing. But yeah, what'd he do? He went out there talking shit about this, that, of people that were in the life, in the street life, making money, and they nearly killed that fucking dude. It's the bottom line, honestly. And that's pretty much what, like, how I looked at this whole internet thing. Like, I just kept writing graffiti. I just kept, and I said, fuck it, man, they got me. Not much I could do, man. I was like, I mean, and this was still, I believe, Giuliani was still in office at this point, or actually out of office by now, or getting ready to be bumped out. And believe me, the mayor that came after him was not any better, man, when it came to shit like that. I mean, it was good for the city, yeah, but not good for the criminals. So, yeah, you have that. And I really can't think of any other way to put it. It's hard to explain something you live like to put it into words. It's hard to do that, especially when I'm talking with people that like probably aren't even from New York or this country. It's hard to explain how the street thing works, but it's almost like you're not even taught the shit. Like, people don't sit you down and tell you it. It's just you go through experiences, like from kindergarten all the way up. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, that's how that goes, this, that, and you put it together. And it's like, it's almost like there's no rule book. So now I go by the street rules, yes. I do not really follow the graffiti rules because it's stupid shit. It makes no sense to me. I don't give a fuck. You start writing tomorrow, you know what I mean? And you're just going to go over me that's been writing for almost 40 fucking years. You get me? Just because you're thinking you're doing something prettier than what I did. You know what I'm saying? And the beauty of graffiti really wasn't the appealing part of graffiti to me. I was more into the vandalism. I'm a good artist. I could paint. I consider myself somewhat. People like my stuff. Very seldom when I hear anyone say I suck. You know? And yeah, so now that's pretty much my mindset on everything. Like I said, no one could ever show any fucking way, form, or anything where I've ever posted anyone's name or anyone's information on the internet. No, can't. It has not happened. Everyone else has done that to me. And then nowadays, actually, with this little camera thing here I got, and I'm starting to do my thing. You know, people are getting in touch. Yo, Rob, man, come on, man, this, that. I'm like, yo, dude, man, straight up and down, you shouldn't have did a pussy move. You know, like, yo, that shit's gonna follow you to your death, man. Like, you did a pussy move to me, you know, when I was just, you know, you fucking put my name on the internet hundreds of thousands of fucking times. Like, when you talk about everyone at once, yeah, hundreds of times. Not thousands, that would be me exaggerating. But you do that. And can you, we're really fucking RD up now, man. Oh shit, yeah, put it on again, put it on again. Alright, now 20 years go by. And now you're like just some slob that's like pushing a 9 to 5, and I'm still out there. And you got nothing now, and you can't go back from that. And now when I'm sitting here talking about that, just like the book with Espo, with the fight I had with Chino, it's a perfect example. It was all fun and games back then when you're making some fucking crazy old book. And oh yeah, we're going to get RD, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, like I said, I was the only human fucking being on this fucking book that was actually writing graffiti at that point. Like towards the millennium, and even now after the millennium. Like all them people that's in that book, they didn't have to write no fucking graffiti towards the millennium. But I guess day one of eternity could be towards the millennium. Day 2, 10 years before the millennium or whatever. So I guess, you know, you could manipulate the title a little bit. But when all's said and fucking done, no one was putting it in. Yeah, this guy Rebs, he was probably still jumping around doing some bullshit in the train tunnels, talking about getting raped by priests or some fucking stupid shit. Yeah, there's actually a funny picture on People Look At. It says RD killed a hooker here. The reason I wrote that is in a train tunnel somewhere. For some reason, like it's out there. Like a lot of people take pictures of it and they're like, yo, RD killed a hooker here. A hooker is a prostitute. I didn't kill a hooker there. What I did do is I sat there and I read all this shit that fucking Rebs wrote about being diddled by his uncle and fucking his cousin sticking his thumb up his ass or some stupid shit like that when he was a kid. And some shit about him not getting a paycheck or something like that. And, you know, like he would write his diary in the fucking subway tunnel. So next to that, RD killed a hooker here. You know, it was like funny shit, you know. But that, I didn't even do that. I wrote 1987, but I did that shit more like, I don't even know. I did that shit with Baal, B-A-A-L. I used to hit tunnels with him. I did that shit with him just as a joke. That wasn't even done in 1987, that tag. RD killed a hooker here. It's just after reading all that shit, I'm like, I'll do my own. like, you know, I was going to sit there writing a bunch of shit, but I'm like, yo, fuck that. I ain't going to waste my paint on this shit. So I just wrote RD killed a hooker here. And yeah, that picture got around. But other than that, I don't know. Who else from that book was writing graffiti? Now, getting back to, alright, that's my mindset on the graffiti world at this point, 2003-ish. I'm living in the Bronx. Now, what am I writing on? Dumpsters. Me and D3 are killing dumpsters. Now, we're not just running around the streets in front of the projects and shit, catching a tag on one dumpster here, one dumpster there. You know, you could get dumpsters like that. That's how I believe Sen4 does it. You ride around on a little bicycle and shit. You see a dumpster, you go, you do a tag on it, you keep riding around. Right on other things. You know, you come across dumpsters on your journeys when writing graffiti in the streets. But what we would do is, I was living up in Hunts Point, so I had dumpster lots. Like, especially all the way down there, like the Bronx River, like where the river starts and shit, and over there where they had that barge for the inmates. Yeah, down around that area, man. Yo, there was one spot, it was 3 dumpster companies together. And I swear, there'd be like 200-300 fucking dumpsters in that fucking thing, man. One time, I believe it was around Thanksgiving, it was me, PK, me meaning RD357, PK, note, D3, and my son wasn't even 2 years old yet at this point, and Melissa's child was maybe 2 or 3 years old, and then her older child was maybe 13. And his friend, Shawnee, which is Chrissy's kid, was probably about 13, 14 years old also. So we all went into this big, huge dumpster lot. Like I said, like 200-300 fucking dumpsters in this fucking thing. We went in there, we let the kids play around in the front there, you know, they'd sit there, it's like this mud, it was all wet, it's always wet, mud, like mud mixed sand, like it was a real bright orange mud. The little kids, they had a blast in there, they were building all types of this, castles and shit like that. So we'd ride all over these dumpsters and shit. I remember PK, you know, a little drunk, it's Thanksgiving, he did a fill-in inside the dumpster, he actually hopped in the dumpster, a big PK, filled it in. Oh my dude, you're wasting paint. It's like there's nothing left to write on. Like we wrote on all the dumpsters already, and we still had a little bit of paint. Let's go back again. Like we're not leaving with paint. You know, like I said, little kids were over there playing in the mud and shit like that. I guess that you would be a child endangerment or something, right? Yeah. It was not where they were. They were off to the side where they would park the cars and stuff like that. They were just playing. And we also had 4 dogs with us. Sammy's 2 dogs. Sammy had a big Mastiff and a Pit Bull. And I had Honey and China, which were both Pit Bulls. So we had 4 dogs, 4 kids, and 3 writers, 3 graffiti writers in that place all at once, jumping around, having fun. And we'll get into that. We also, me and D3 also hit the Royal Flush. We did that. That was a big one. That's when they did Summer Jam, the very first Summer Jam, I believe. And we'll get into all that because I'm going to get D3 on here to explain it with me. You know, he did a lot of dumpsters with me. And I would jump in the train tunnels with Lace. And I did a couple of freight trains at that point. I did a few freights by myself. I'd go over there in the Hunts Point area, that big freight yard, and I'd jump in there and catch a freight train or something. Yeah, I'd do like the whole side of one of them or something, half under windows type thing, as high as I could reach. Under the windows, freight don't have windows, but when I refer to under the windows, I'm referring to the size of something you do on a subway car when it's below the windows. That's what I mean by under the windows. And what else was I writing on? Trucks, because there was Hunts Point killing trucks. Baldora. I was hitting trucks with Bet TFV. I went with him once or twice. Yeah, once. Who else did I hit trucks with? Mainly I'd go by myself. You know, they had the fucking fruit market up there. Hunts Point, the vegetable and fruit produce market. This is before the fish market was up there. What I do is I get myself a little gym bag, like a bag someone would use to go to the gym. It's like, or a JanSport. At one point I was using a regular JanSport. This one right here, actually. This is the bag right here, actually. The same as that bag. This bag's been through so many tunnels and everywhere, man. Anyway, I'd fill that bag up with spray paint, have it around my shoulder, and I'd go through, like when you get into the fruit market, it's a turnstile, and there's a lady in the booth. So now they drive these trucks right into the fucking place, and they fill them up with fruit, and they take them out. So now it's huge, man. It's like the Yankee Stadium parking lot. Like it's like a bigger, like Shea Stadium parking lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a huge fucking parking lot full of fucking trucks, man. Just full of trucks. So I'd go in there, I'd have a pair of Timberland boots on, real beat up old boots that I've had since 1994. I remember. Same boots. And I'd wear those, a pair of jeans, and a Colossal jacket that was very old and abused looking. I actually found this Colossal jacket on a fire hydrant in front of a construction site on 32nd Street and 3rd Avenue. I remember, it was a go shit. Brought it home, I washed it. It was leaning on a fire hydrant. The construction workers were working there. They turned on the fire hydrant and shit. So I just grabbed it, threw it over my shoulder, and kept it moving. I would use this jacket for writing graffiti. I'd walk through the turnstile. It doesn't stop you and nothing. I guess the lady could stop you from in the booth, but you're allowed to walk in there. You know, so I'd walk in like I owned one of those trucks. I'd look like a truck driver. I'd have a flannel shirt or something, you know. I'd walk right in with my big bag full of spray paint, and I'd go as far away from that lady and humans that I could, all the way to one end, sometimes even behind the market, and I'd just start writing on trucks. I just do tags. Yeah, I got a lot of fucking trucks. And the funny thing is, a lot of those trucks, they don't even come into New York. Like, they go straight to Jersey. A lot of people tell me, "Yo, I saw you up on Jersey, man. You were on a truck in New Jersey." I myself have only been to New Jersey like twice in my life. You know, it's only now 3 times in my life. I went to New Jersey with my father's brother, my Uncle Kenneth. When he died, I was maybe 11 years old. Then again, when I was like 18, maybe 19, I went with Mike Kershaw. He was gambling in Atlantic City, and he hopped his gold chain in a pawn shop. Went to get the chain back from Atlantic City. Yeah, I'll take a bus ride with you. I went. And just recently, this August that passed, I went to a Guns N' Roses concert in New Jersey. So, I don't know. But people would take pictures of these trucks, and they'd show them to me. Oh, shit, yeah, I did that up at Hunts Point. But, I mean, I'd see some of them in Manhattan, but very few. Compared to the amount of trucks that I was smashing, I would think that, like, every truck in Manhattan would have them, but that wasn't the case. I was hitting, so that's why I would start hitting the Delancey Street truck lot. Yeah, I was fucking with trucks a lot, catching a lot of big tags on them, D3 also. We used to get trucks back in the days, but it hasn't been good like that for maybe 30 years now, 20-something years. But back in the days, like Chelsea, the West 20s, 30s, yo, there'd be truck after truck after truck, like just that whole neighborhood, man. That used to be a good pickings over there. And later on, it got narrowed down to just around the meatpacking district, around 14th Street, Horatio, you'd catch trucks there. But Delancey Street always had a big lot, man. I remember me and this dude Barron, God rest his soul, Timmy Barron, 357. And D3, and I think Irish might have been there, but we hit the Delancey Street lot. And a fucking cops pulled right in. This is probably 89, 1990? No, I can't even remember when that was. It might have been when the trains were running, 88 maybe. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Anyway, I remember fucking Timmy got up on top of the truck, Barron. He climbed up on top of the truck, ran off it, and just jumped right off onto the street because the fence is lower than the truck, you know. So I'm like, shit, he's out of here. And he got up and ran. I said, if he could do it, I could do it. So when I did it, I got to the end of it and hopped over and got out. And I believe that's how each and every one of us got out. And we got away. But yeah, we would hit, that's early on. That's way before the time I'm talking about now. I got so many different stories with Barron, Timmy, me, Irish 17, and a lot of different people I used to write graffiti with. We could get into those along the line. But yeah, I was hitting trucks. And also I got into this thing where I started saying I'm king of the throne. Now what I mean by king of the throne is I'd go for hours on end. I'd just go into every single restaurant in Manhattan and some in Queens, because I was living in Queens at one point. I'd go into every single restaurant, just one after the other after the other. Say, excuse me, can I use your bathroom? They'd be, yeah, sure, it's in the back. So I go in the back. As soon as I open the door, I catch a tag on the ceiling, right above the door to the corner. I do this like every single bathroom in Manhattan. No, I didn't do it in the Bronx. Because in the Bronx, motherfuckers don't let you use their bathroom. Like, nah, get out of here with that shit. But I did do it in a couple around like Ditmars and shit, like the Neptune Diner, stuff like that. Everyone knows the Neptune Diner, yo. Old school. Queens motherfuckers, yo, go on the Neptune Diner. You used to sit in that shit and you fucking watch them fucking pull the trains in and walk through them and leave. Good times. Yeah, Neptune Diner. I did it a bunch. I did it like, yo, I swear. And even at lunchtime from work, I just walk around bathroom after bathroom after bathroom. I do it like a flooded fucking marker. At first I was doing it with black oil-based paint marker, which I believe was my best choice. Being you paint over it, it soaks right back through, so it was good. Like if someone's seen it, they give it a quick coat and it's buffed enough. So, you know, but yo, really, one day when you're in the bathrooms in Manhattan, look up in the corner. Like, I'm dead serious. I did like every single bathroom I could possibly, that I was allowed to go into and do it to. I did it. It's like hundreds of bathrooms in Manhattan, and I did that. I did it to be king of the throne. You got it, like the toilet bowl, king of the throne, whoop, whoop. And still to this day, I see some of those. But yeah, I was big on that. I was big on that. Definitely everything around 34th Street, 42nd Street, 59th Street, all those big hub streets. Yeah, I had all those bathrooms all through. 125th, a little, it started slowing down up around there. Like, I definitely didn't do maybe one or two bathrooms up around Washington Heights, but in Manhattan, like Midtown down to the bottom, yeah. Chinatown's a little tricky too, because you don't even know if a place is a restaurant or what. So, you know, some of them places are gambling establishments and all types of shit. So I'm pretty sure I got a lot of them, but not every single one of them. So I had a lot of fucking bathrooms. I focused on writing tags and bathrooms. And I still, at this point, didn't write on no fire hydrants yet. Still didn't even get to fire hydrants yet. Dumpsters, like I said, trucks, and bathrooms. Those were my meat and potatoes at that point. Yeah, that was the bulk of my damage. I did do the freight train tracks a few times, big blockbusters and shit, just to keep my powder dry. Nothing special. Didn't expect it to get seen by many people, but eventually people did see it. They took pictures of it and stuff like that. What else did I do? Yeah. Tunnels, a lot of tunnels. I was explaining that already. A lot of mouths of tunnels. Yeah, at that point in my life, that's what I was up to. So I just pretty much broke down my mindset, and then I broke down what I was writing on. So that's pretty good for an interview for you guys today, right? That's a damn pretty good podcast. I gave you some good shucking shit there. One thing I do want to say is about my past one, about Katie passing away, Katie Ann, my baby's mother, dying and getting murdered. And yeah, man, all that Dr. Phil shit, man, that ain't gonna help, man. You're bugging, man. This shit was like 20 years ago. And then for all you guys who are like, I'm so sorry to hear about your son dying. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I don't know if you're being a troll or not, but my son's sitting in a room right next to me, man, right now. As I'm talking to you, he's actually gonna post this thing on the phone. My son did not die. The woman of my love of my life passed away. Who happened to give birth to Bobby. And yeah, man, I mean, that was some tragic shit. You know, what more can I say? Shit happens, man. Look at all those people that woke up to go to fucking work on 9/11 and never went home, you know. You never know, your time's up, your time's up. And shit you could do about that. But me, as a loved one of hers and as the father of her child, I stepped up to the plate and took care of that, and I believe I was very successful at it. I can't say nothing bad about my son. Even during teething, and everyone's, oh, wait till the terrible twos and this and that. And I started feeling like some of these people actually want me to go through some kind of hardships with my child. Like, oh, no, wait till he starts teething. Oh, wait till the terrible twos, and wait till this, wait till that. Hey, no problems. Like, really, like nothing. I mean, all right, he shit his diapers. I mean, that's what kids do, you know. But I can never really say nothing bad. There's really no like real tragic moments or anything like that. He's always just been chilling. Like he's always been a very mature child. He's not like he's more mature than me. Like there's times I'm arguing with old ladies in the supermarket. He's like, oh come on, Dad, what the fuck you bugging? Man, his lady's like fucking 80-something years old. Let her go in front of you on the line. I'm like, no, fuck that, man. equal women's rights and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. You want to be equal? Bitch, get behind me, motherfucker. You know, hey, that's just me, man. My kid, sometimes I wonder if he even likes walking around the streets with me. Sometimes I might even embarrass the kid. But, yo, that's an episode right there for you guys, man. Peace. One more thing I want to talk about. I can say at this point, there was nobody writing graffiti from when I actually physically started writing graffiti. The graffiti game was nothing like that anymore. At this point, the city, there was no more street kids. People don't even know what snitching is, what snitching isn't. There's no one. There's only one person I can think of, and I'm shocked that no one really mentions him to me on this YouTube thing. And that would be Sev from the Lower East Side. He's been around a long fucking time. He's hit the sixes. I've seen him up on the double R's back then. He's had a lot of subways. It's been not a lot where he kinged anything, but yo, he's always been out there like that. And also, throughout most of this time that I'm talking about, he's been out there writing graffiti. It's just he never spread out far enough or really did enough. But he's always been active in the Lower East Side. You cannot go to Lower East Side and not see that dude up. You know? Yeah, he's definitely slept on dude, man. He's been out there a long fucking time, man. Sev, S-E-V. Sev from the Lower East Side, yeah. He's been out there, man. He's been out there, man. And he's another guy, like, probably, you know, he's been in the mix, like, straight on through. I don't know his whole lineage of if he ever taken breaks or something. I mean, but yeah, that's one person I've seen up straight on a long time. It's always just downtown, from what I see. Like, he never really comes up too much above 14th Street. But that's one dude that's been putting it in for a long fucking time. And, alright, yeah, because the reason I'm talking about this is, once on Instagram and Facebook, and I don't even have a Facebook account no more. Someone hacked that shit. A few people, actually, Chalks, my boy Chalks, BYG357, he was telling me that I sent him a message on Facebook. Man, dude, I haven't been on Facebook in years, man. So I think someone hacked my shit. So that ain't me on Facebook. But anyway, I asked people on Facebook, Instagram, and then they put it on other platforms. Who's been out there as long as me, or long as me, putting in as much work as me illegally on this earth? There's no one. There's absolutely no one that anyone could come up with. What they did come up with was this guy Eternity that wrote 33, 32 until 1950 something. And I counted the years, and no, I beat him. He would write the word eternity with chalk on the sidewalks, the concrete sidewalks of, I believe, Paris, France, in the 1930s. And first off, that's a different medium than what I'm doing, and I beat him anyway. And you have this other guy, Colossal Rhodes. Now he's a dude that looks like Willie Nelson, a country singer. And it might be a group of them. It's like Hobo Art, it's called. They use a mean streak. I know, I just had a mean streak too. Well, I use a mean streak to draw on these freight trains. Let's give me a second, people. I had the fucking thing somewhere up there. Oh. Hey, decent. It's brand new about this one. I have a bunch of them. See? Yeah, Mean Street. It's a grease marker. A grease pen is what this particular person calls them. Grease pens. And he would write like, or he would draw on freight trains, small drawings like this big. And he would draw like cactuses, cowboys, sitting down in bottles of liquor and prostitutes and shit like that on these freight trains. And then it all got gone over by all the fucking graffiti writers on the freight trains doing big ugly fillings and shit. And they just disrespected the man's art. As a matter of fact, someone got in touch with me. I don't know if it was him himself or one of the people involved with him, or someone that just is interested in him and archives his stuff. But They actually mailed me a DVD. It's like the Colossal Crossroads or Colossal Rhodes. You guys could look into it, and yeah, this dude's been out there a long fucking time, man, longer than me. But then again, he's drawing like pictures of cowboys and stuff. Real cool shit, man. I'm telling you, I sit there smoke a little weed. I fucking look through that shit. I would watch some of that shit for hours, man. Scrolling through some of that fucking Hobo Art. That's what it's called, Hobo Art. Now that's an interesting fucking thing. That shit's been around fucking since the Depression days and shit. These hobos, homeless people, bums, they would get on these freight trains and take them from one state to another state in America, and they'd get off the freight train and they'd beg for money, they'd fucking steal. They'd sit there, you know, beg for money, get some liquor, get some food and shit like that. And then when they get tired of that place or they wear out their welcome, they get back on another freight train and go to another place. And in doing so, they draw on these freight trains with these grease markers, also known as mean streaks. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing with that. It's cool shit. I'm actually going to include some of their stuff. I'll include Eternity. Eternity, wild looking motherfucker, man. I do look like Dr. Kevorkian or like Nosferatu. Real old, decrepit man. He's got a little bit of gray hair here. He wears like a long trench coat and shit. He's like, for real, like, you know, like tiny as shit from the Devil's Rejects and shit. But I believe he passed away. I don't think he could still be alive if he write graffiti in his like the 1930s and shit. He looked like an old man then. So, but I mean, these are the kind of people have brought to my attention. Yo, Rob, I think these guys wrote longer than you illegally. Let's not forget that word, illegally, because then technically you could say CNUA, Zephyr, all these people. But I mean, technically they're in other forms. Like they do legal stuff. Zephyr has become like a journalist or whatever the fuck in this graffiti world, or an archiver, I guess. Fucking cocksucker. Yeah, peace, people. Hey, what's up, people? Real quick, like I always do, I watch through the video and I comment on it before I post it. And, yeah, everything looks good, but yeah, that hobo graffiti stuff is real wild. Like I said, I actually was able to look it up, and I googled and I screenshot some of the pictures to come right after this video when I'm done talking. And it's Who is Bozo Texino? Yeah, that's the DVD that someone had mailed to me. I don't know if it was him himself or someone involved with his organization or how it works. But yeah, apparently the DVD is called Colossal Rhodes, and you can actually watch it on YouTube for free. I actually just saw it on there. You know, I was Googling and screenshotting pictures. That's the guy that I was saying that was running around with a grease pen that I showed you before. I don't know where I put it now. I'm trying to do this fast because my battery's blinking. And then I also have pictures of this old guy, Eternity, that people said he wrote a lot too, but they have his years of activity, and I beat him also. And like I said, it's different mediums. But that hobo graffiti stuff was wild, man. Like that whole freight train art, that was cool. What they were doing with those grease pens, yeah, you look at some of that stuff. It's kind of sad that like all these graffiti writers just wind up like demolishing that shit with fill-ins and whole cars. And, you know, the freight movement got real powerful with the graffiti shit, and that whole hobo art got wiped out, man. But yeah, it's very wild shit. I've spent hours like just googling through shit like that and smoking like weed and shit, looking at it like, wow, that's cool. That was like some fucking, that's way before graffiti and stuff. But this stuff's been brought to my attention maybe 15 years ago or something like that. And yeah, actually probably around 2003, 2004, when I was on the computer, and the girl, Melissa, she was pretty computer literate. And, yeah, that's probably around the time, and that's where I was mailed this DVD. Probably around the same period of time, give or take 2 or 3 years. And very interesting stuff. Now, as far as it goes with my take on where I was talking about with these websites with graffiti and computers, honestly, in my eyes, and like I was saying, people from the street type shit, it's almost like the internet became an invasive species. I guess would be the best way to put it. Like if you think like in botany, like plants that are released into areas that they were never before, they wipe out other plants. Same with insects and animals and stuff. And that's kind of what happened with the internet. It kind of wiped out the people that thought like me. If not, they just got in line and jumped on board with it. But in all reality, and even this podcast thing that I do now, I got dudes, this is going to crack you up, this shit has me fucking laughing so hard, man. Dudes from this neighborhood, they're like, yo, Rob, man, what the fuck are you, Exotic Joe, Joe Exotic, Tiger King? Like, I'm the Tiger King of graffiti. You know, but these dudes, they're not even writers and shit, but, you know, people like, yo, Rob got this YouTube thing. They call me the Joe Exotic. That's it, the Joe Exotic. The Tiger King, the Graffiti King, Joe Exotic. Yo, that's fucking hilarious, man. Yo, I'll wear that crowd, man. That's funny. You know, other than the homosexuality, man, that dude's a trip, man. Yeah. Yo, that's fucking hilarious, man. Yeah, for real. You see, that's that mindset, you know. And even like I said, it was on my birthday. People were taking pictures. This guy, Marino Frost. So we're posing for pictures. This one dude, you know, Raul. He wrote Raul 357. You know, he was in the back of the picture and shit. So some girl took the picture, gives it to her. So we put it on, like, I think it was Facebook back then or something. So we're like, hey, look. He's like, yo, the fuck are you? Jay-Z or some crazy shit. No, Kardashian, isn't it? The fuck are you, Kim Kardashian? Yo, take that picture down, this, that. And yo, I swear, like by the end of the night, we're like having a rough conversation, walking down like a dead street. And I'm like, you know, I knew, you know, I don't know what he was up to. I lost contact with the dude for long years, many years. But, yeah, I believe that motherfucker was ready to put one in my head. You know, straight up. I was like, peace. And I went the other way. I mean, yo, honestly, yeah. So the website, I don't know, and the generations that followed after that, I really don't look at it much, like I've explained before. Can't really tell you much about who's who nowadays, or even within the past 10 years. And I honestly live a personal, like, perfectly legal life. I do absolutely nothing wrong, no criminal activity whatsoever. So I'm chilling. And it's been that way for quite some time now. And I'm happy with my life. And I love my childhood. And I like to sit here telling you guys these stories about it. I'm still laughing at that Joe Exotic shit, man. You know, it's kind of funny. I mean, other than the mullet and shit like that, I ain't never rocked no mullet, man. I remember PK had one of them. My man King Kong Ken. Yeah, Ken 357, he's walk around with a mullet. Oh, shit, yo,